The search will resume tomorrow. A senior government MP has urged Beijing to back down from its campaign of economic coercion, which has included tariffs and sanctions on Australian produce. It comes a year after China's embassy handed Nine News 14 grievances Beijing has with Canberra. Neither the Morrison government nor China is prepared to compromise.
One piece of paper, 14 points, a diplomatic shot from Beijing and Canberra that's been heard around the world.
It's been a wake-up call.
November 2020, inside this Canberra hotel, China's 14 grievances with Australia were handed to Nine News by a Chinese embassy official.
It was an enormously significant event that the Chinese Communist Party was willing to put down in writing 14 grievances which it had with Australia, and that it made it so clear that it was linked to the campaign of economic coercion.
On the list, Australia's foreign investment decisions to block Chinese companies on national security grounds, banning Huawei from the rollout of the 5G network, the Australian government's call for an inquiry into the origins of COVID-19, and speaking out on issues in the South China Sea, Xinjiang, Hong Kong and Taiwan. It also objected to criticism of China by MPs and the media. The official said if you make China the enemy, China will be the enemy, describing the bilateral relationship as a very bad atmosphere. The official made it clear that the relationship could be improved if the Australian government was to give ground on some or all of these demands.
It made Australians realise that this was unacceptable.
The Prime Minister was immediately on the front foot.
Australia can never compromise our own national interests.
Within hours of the list being handed over, China's Foreign Ministry publicly backed it in, blaming Australian government decisions for the slump in relations, and China's acting ambassador still supports the intent.
The list should be longer than 14 points.
Didn't China want some sort of movement on those points listed?
Sure.
Scott Morrison handed the list to G7 leaders. It was the first time President Biden heard the detail in full. Emmanuel Macron took it back to his cabinet. All the while, in a quiet room on the Cornwall coast, three leaders agreed in secret to work towards what would become AUKUS, and regional players knew the world was shifting.
The United States has Australia's back. A lot of other countries do too.
Australia is not walking alone.
We stand shoulder to shoulder with our friends.
Leaders of the group known as the Quad have since held their first face-to-face meeting, and more than submarines loom for AUKUS.
The 14-point statement completely backfired on China.
I think it's in their own interest, both for their international reputation and image and for the sake of their own people, that they back down.
Despite a coordinated international pushback, Beijing is standing firm, warning against what it says is the use of bloc politics. And experts say the relationship with our largest trading partner is going to be the biggest political challenge of the decade.
We will not be able to function as the democracy that Australians want if we concede to China.
Well, the only way it can come to an end is if they themselves admit that it was a failure.
Jonathan Kersley, 9 News.
The Premier